Tonight, live from Northfield Park in Cleveland, Ohio, it's the Aged Mare Trot, with a purse of over $228,000 up for grabs. At Scioto Downs last year, Grade Singing stormed down the stretch to become Queen of the Mares, both for a day and the year. Franconia is also here with lofty credentials. 8 wins in 23 starts, including a 155 flat world record and over $200,000 in earnings this year. Those two, along with 4 others, here at Northfield to contest the first ever Breeders' Crown at this fine track. It's 65 degrees on this beautiful Friday night here just outside Cleveland at Northfield Park, and the horses are on the track. Let's take a look at the entire field. We start with Grade Singing when the morning line is 5-2, and Ole Goop drives.
Well, this millionaire in 1987 has traveled the world racing in Europe's most prestigious trotting events. Tonight she returns to the United States for the 2nd time this year, only this time it's to defend her Breeders' Crown title. There is one question in my mind, Dave. I wonder if the month layoff is going to affect her.
We will know shortly. Number 2 is Victoria's Tale. At 4-1 on the morning line, this Kentucky bred has the track record for aged mares on the trot, 2 minutes and a fifth of a second. Bernt Lindstedt in the bike.
She put on one of her best performances as a 3-year-old in '86, finishing second to Royal Prestige in the Kentucky Futurity. Last week here at Northfield, in a prep race for tonight's Breeders' Crown, she set that track record and was parked a long way from the 8-hole. She draws inside tonight, and that's definite advantage.
And the real Cinderella story in this field wears saddlecloth number 3, and it is Franconia, and that's John Campbell in the maroon and white silk.
A $21,000 purchase. She has made almost $400,000 for her owners. This mare has made a remarkable recovery after suffering a broken bone in her knee back in June of '86. She's durable and can trot any size racetrack, even though her best performances have been on a bigger size track. They've also been with John Campbell in the bike, and he's here tonight.
Ellie, the Ohio Rooters are here too, and the Ohio bred in this action is Cindy's Action, the longest price in the morning line at 12-1, and John Hogan, a new face for Breeders' Crown competition drive.
She's a top quality mare, campaigning on the Ohio Sire Stakes circuit, and in between races she's been in open competition in New York. However, she faces some very tough competitors in here and may find them a little more difficult to handle than her previous opponents.
And we'll move on to number 5 in this Breeders' Crown event for aged mares on the trot. Here is Scenic Regal with Harold Story, who at age 66 is making his first appearance in Breeders' Crown competition.
Racing in the open trots against much weaker horses than these, but she's a very rugged mare and as tough as any trotting mare. She's always 2 to 3 wide during most of her races and still has plenty of step when she turns for home. She's raced almost exclusively on a half-mile track, and that'll be her biggest advantage.
And coming out of the back paddock is the final horse in our field. Number 6, Armbro Ermine, and Larry Walker will drive.
Well, last year, Armbro Ermine won 11 out of 22 races and banked close to $250,000. Now in '87, she's been sidelined with lameness problems and has only 4 starts, with 3 of those being wins. Her toughest assignment tonight is starting from the outside post.
Well, that's our 6-pack of talent, the Distaff Trotters, going for a purse of over $228,000. Now, let's meet another member of our broadcast team. Here's Alan Kirschenbaum with the top contenders.
Thank you, Dave. A year ago, the Breeders' Crown made its first visit to Ohio, the state in which more standardbreds are foaled than any others. Grade Singing won the inaugural Aged Mare Trot at Scioto Downs in Columbus. This year, we're at a different racetrack in a different city, but that may be the only difference. Grade Singing has made the transatlantic journey once again, and she is a beautiful mare and appears to have shipped in fine fettle. More importantly, she's drawn the rail, which puts the outcome of this race really under trainer-driver Ole Goop's command. He can leave out of there, he can take back, he can control it. If she is to lose, Franconia is the one that's going to beat her. The oldest mare in the field, the 6-year-old, is not just getting older, she is getting better and better and better. And her 8 1987 wins are the most racked up by any of the mares this season. Shown here defeating Victoria's Tale, as well as a top field of trotters of both genders in the Maple Leaf Trot at Greenwood Raceway in Toronto. Franconia is a tribute to Ronnie Gerfine's sharp sharp eye for selecting horses, as well as his sound conditioning abilities. John Campbell, who has visited more Breeders' Crown winner circles than anyone, will drive Franconia tonight, as he did here at Greenwood, and you will see the mark of a true champion. Franconia has had a very rough journey. She has been first over without anybody cutting down the wind resistance, and she will take over here and just gut it out to the wire under a drive. Victoria's Tail closing in. They won't catch Franconia in this one. Franconia has been one of the great bargain purchases in recent harness racing history, and the man who's responsible for selecting her out of a Harrisburg mixed sale is her trainer, Ronnie Gerfine. Ronnie, she's made almost $400,000 for you and your owners. How did you come about selecting her at that sale?
Well, I was wandering down the aisles at Harrisburg, and I came across a nice-looking filly that had been raced by a man who I'd previously bought a horse from. And he had done an excellent job with the first horse I bought. His name was Hardesty. And he did a lot of good for me and for Mr. Rulin, who I bought him for. And I decided I'd like to take a shot with this filly.
Sort of worked out perfectly. Now, Franconia has never been at her best on a half-mile track, while Grade Singing seems to relish the smaller oval. How do you think your filly will do in here?
Well, I wonder about that myself. She was no good at Roosevelt. I think this track is a lot better for her. John Campbell just warmed her up, and he went the last trip, and he said that she was better than she was in Canada, so I just got to go along with that. Nobody knows better than he does.
Best of luck to Ronnie Gerfine and Franconia, and let's go back to Dave Johnson.
And as the horses are warming up in preparation for this classic, let's take a look at current odds. Grade Singing is at 8-5. Victoria's Tail at 7. Franconia is right there at 3-2. The folks here in Ohio really can't decide which of these fine distaff racers to put in the favorites role. Grade Singing and Franconia really co-favorites. Cindy's Action at 17, Scenic Regal at 4, and Armbro Ermine at 8. And welcome back to the Breeders' Crown at Northfield Park. You know, Stan, we talked about Grade Singing winning this race last year, but as a 3-year-old, she was in the 3-year-old filly Trot, and she finished 4th. The stories just keep coming about this racehorse.
Well, the real story, I think, of Grade Singing, Dave, is in a sense the story of aspiration, of accomplishment that drives and fuels all of horse racing. And there's also a story of the tremendous influence of Scandinavia on North American trotting in the last decade. She was originally named Drumming Bay, but she was sold in the winter of her 2-year-old season to Gratian Deschênes, a major Quebec owner who had taken the first 3 letters of his first and last names and called his farm Grade's Farm. He renamed the filly Grade Singing, Grades for the farm and Singing for her dam or mother, Singing Bay. Deschênes paid $13,000 for the filly. She has won $1.4 million, most of it for him. And last spring, after she set a world record in Finland, she was sold to her present Swedish owners. Here is the trip she had to make to get from Sweden to Cleveland for tonight's Breeders' Crown, from Gothenburg to Frankfurt in West Germany, and then across the Atlantic to New York City. Following that to Newburgh in New York, where she was in quarantine for 3 days, and when she left quarantine in a sealed truck across New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Ohio to Cleveland. And here is the young lady who is responsible for keeping her healthy, caretaker Anne Charlotte Yorkman with trainer Ollie Goop. How did Grade Singing make the trip?
Well, now she's feeling good again. She had a training job last Saturday, and she was really good. She was super. And we got another train job at Tuesday, and she wasn't the same horse then. She didn't look happy. She was feeling down. But now, today she looks happy again. Been grassing a lot and just make her happy. She looks comfortable.
There are good grooms who care for ordinary horses, but there are no great horses that have ordinary grooms. The trainer prepares them to go fast. The driver gets them to do it. But the groom keeps them doing it, day in, day out, week in, week out.
There's excitement to come here to such a big race. It's an opportunity that will never come again. It's terrific to come here to another country and meet new people. Everybody's so friendly here. Everybody tries to help you the way they can.
As an internationalist combining the best of North American trotting and the new wave of trotting power in Scandinavia, and as a $13,000 filly that returned more than $2 million to her principal owner, Grade Singing typifies the best of North American trotting and the hopes of all who enter this fascinating sport.
Let's take a look at the odds as we get set for post time here. And now they have made Grade Singing the 8-5 choice with Franconia second choice. And betting favorites in the Breeders' Crown tend to do a little better than the norm in harness racing. 15 of the 31 Breeders' Crown Championship events to date have been won by the favorites. That's 48% favorites to the winner's circle. And picking a lot of winners has been Alan Kirschenbaum on previous broadcasts. Alan, who do you see here tonight?
Well, I think the race is in the hands of Ole Goop, basically. He's got the rail, and there's a line from a movie that's called Back to the Future that I really think he'll follow. The line was make like a tree and leaf. Ole Goop's going to have to leave on out of there. I think there's only one place for Grade Singing to be, and that's on the front end, which is where she won last year's Breeders' Crown. She's got the rail, and she'll be out of there. Victoria's Tail's got the 2-hole, and she could be victorious if she sits on Grade Singing's tail the whole way. Scenic Regal's a dead closer. She'll be sitting in the back of the pack. Franconia, the second choice in the wagering, she looks like she'll be the attacker. She's the one that's going to have to make the first move. They'll fight tooth and nail. Grade Singing down the road. I think she's going to win this one. Let's go back to Dave Johnson.
3 New York breds, 1 New Jersey bred, 1 Ohio bred, 1 Kentucky bred. Stan Bergstein, anything unusual in the breeding lines themselves?
There is that. The 3 dominant stallions in American trotting, Speedy Crown, Super Bowl, Speedy Somali, usually dominate a race. There's only one by any of those 3. That's Speedy Crown's Armbro Ermine, and she's 5th choice in the wagering.
And we see so many races with 8, 10, 12. What about 6 here and the strategy with the short field, Ellie?
Well, I have to agree with Alan because the half-mile trek, you have to be on the front end.
Up to the announcer, Greg Young, for the call.
Thank you, Dave Johnson. They're in the stretch now and coming down for the start of the richest race in the history of Northfield Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1987 Breeders' Crown Aged Mare Trot. And they're off and trotting. Its Grade Singing, taking the field away, has a nose on top. And now shooting out between horses is Cindy's Action. Around the clubhouse turn they go. Grade Singing has the lead 3/4. Cindy's Action along the outside. At the rail, Victoria's Tail is showing 3rd. Getting away 4th, you have Franconia. And comes Scenic Regal, the trailer, is Armbro Ermine. They're in the back stretch, going to the 1/4 mile mark. It's Grade Singing on top, leads by a length. Victoria's Tail is now 2nd, a length and a 1/4. It's Cindy's Action 3rd. Now moving along the outside comes Franconia. Off the rail is Scenic Regal, the trailer. Armbro Ermine, the opening 1/4, 29 2/5. Around they come to the top of the lane the first time. It's Grade Singing, showing the way a length and a 1/4. Victoria's Tail along the rail is 2nd by a half. Moving up along the outside, now 3rd. You have Franconia racing along the rail. Cindy's Action 4th. Along the outside is Scenic Regal, the trailer. Armbro Ermine, the half, in 1:01. They're in the clubhouse turn. It's their payoff half. Grade Singing's on top, 3/4. On the outside is Franconia, 2nd by a nose. Along the rail, Victoria's Tail 3rd. On the outside, Scenic Regal 4th. At the rail is Cindy's Action and Armbro Ermine. They're in the back stretch. They head to the 3/4 mile mark. Grade Singing on top by 1. Along the outside, Franconia neck. Along the inside, Victoria's Tail 3rd. They pass the 3/4 in 1:30 2. On the turn, they're coming home in the Breeders' Crown. It's Grade Singing by a length and a half. Along the rail, Victoria's Tail. Fading back between horses is Franconia, now 3 wide on the outside. Coming into the stretch is Scenic Regal. They're in the lane on a drive for the wire. Grade Singing opens up now. She has command by 5 lengths. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Grade Singing coming home to defend her crown in the Breeders' Crown in a new track record of 1:58 3/5 seconds.
Answering a lot of questions in spectacular fashion. It became a procession as Grade Singing and Ole Goop looking over his shoulder, looking for Campbell, but Campbell and Franconia faded back. And Grade Singing, as she did last year, takes the Breeders' Crown in the Aged Mare Trot. In track record time, let's watch the stretch drive again. Grade Singing answered all those questions. The long trip from Europe, the quarantine in New York, the trip to Ohio by van. And watch here as she comes home a tremendous winner. The 5-year-old mare by Texas out of Singing Bay destroys this field. Grade Singing, unofficial winner of the 11th race, which is the Breeders' Crown. A happy winner's circle ceremony taking place. Grade Singing is the official winner of the Breeders' Crown for aged mare trots. But Ellie Sarema, a lot of action at the top of the stretch not involving the winner.
Well, Dave, Victoria's Tail was setting a perfect trip until she hit the top of the lane and just proceeded to go off stride. As Scenic Regal was making a 3-wide move, she really pushed her that much wider, and Scenic Regal came on to be a very impressive second.
And Alan Kirschenbaum is getting ready in the winner's circle to give us more of the inside story. Let's go over there now with Alan.
I am joined by a victorious Oli Goop, who has just steered Grade Singing to victory in her 2nd straight Breeders' Crown. Oli, it was a very easy victory. Did you expect it to be that easy?
No, not so easy. She was wonderful this night. I've never been so happy in all my life.
A very happy Oli Goop. We're going right to the replay. Perhaps Oli can talk us through here. At the beginning of the race, Oli, it was evident you were going to leave the gate. Did you expect any of the other horses to leave with you?
No, I like to go to the front directly, and she was wonderful, and it was no problem.
As they went around the first turn, John Hogan ranged up alongside with Cindy's Action. Did you have any thoughts about letting her go?
No, I thought my mare was better.
Victoria's Tail now is settled in the 2-hole for Bernd Lindstedt, and he's got a pretty strong hold of his mare. As you begin to back down the pace, did you want to back it down that much?
No, I let her go the last 400 meters, and he was out in the corner.
Victoria's Tail now in 2nd. Cindy's Action has tucked 3rd, and Franconia and John Campbell are beginning to range up on the outside. Was this the mare you thought you had to worry about, Franconia?
Yes, that's right.
Franconia is underway first over without cover, and as she comes up alongside here, did you think she would get past you, or did you mean to keep her on the outside the rest of the way?
I like to keep her outside.
Now, as they go the half in a relatively slow 1:01, the 2nd quarter was in 31-2. Did you feel you had given Grade Singing enough of a rest?
Yeah, she wasn't tired.
And as they approach the backstretch the 2nd time, you're starting to let her trot on here. How confident do you feel about winning the race at this point?
Oh, it's wonderful.
You look over here, your shoulders a couple times to look at Campbell. Did you think you had the race won as you came here?
I was sure of that.
I know you're familiar with Scenic Regal, and she's going to pull 3 wide here and go around. Did you think she could catch you?
No, it was too slow tempo. The first, what's the name?
Grade Singing is now going to trot one of the fastest last quarters I've ever heard of on a half-mile track. She looks sensational. You have to be very happy.
Yes, I am.
Congratulations to Oli Goop, to the owners of the Grade Singing stable. Let's go back to Dave Johnson.
And it's official. Grade Singing's $460, $3.280. Scenic Regal $440, $380. Cindy's Action $380. The Exacta $22.60.
Welcome back to the winner's circle at Northfield Park, where Grade Singing has just won her 2nd consecutive Breeders' Crown. Making the trophy presentation, Chairman of the Board of Northfield Park Associates Carl Milstein, along with his lovely wife Sandra. Congratulations to the Grade Singing stable. Their representative Hans Gunnar Reed here tonight to accept the Houghton Trophy. Let's go back to Dave Johnson.
Top to bottom, let's take a look at the complete order of finish. Grade Singing was 1st, Scenic Regal 2nd, Cindy's Action 3rd, Franconia was 4th, Armbro Ermine 5th, and Victoria's Tail finished 6th. Ellie Sarama, did she answer all your questions?
Oh, she certainly did. No way was she short after a month layoff. She trotted home in 57-3 last quarter and 28-1, and that is not a performance from a short horse. That's a performance from a champion.
And Stan Bergstein, can you find anything in the history of harness racing to match what Grade Singing did tonight?
Yes, I can. 17 years ago, Fresh Yankee, one of the greatest mares ever, also a Millionaires winner, the first one, won in the Elite Lop in Stockholm, Sweden, flew to New York, was delayed in customs, went to Chicago, and won the Columbian Trot at Sportsman's Park in the exact time she won in Sweden.
It was a tremendous performance. We're delighted that you were here and watched it as Grade Singing made the big trip across the pond and then across the country to take the Breeders' Crown, the aged mare trot this evening. Thanks for being with us.